Welcome to episode 9. Today, we're going to explore essential English phrases for remote work and freelancing. Whether you're new to working from home or have years of experience, this lesson will help you enhance your communication skills. Hey Liam, I've been thinking a lot lately about how important it is to use the right English phrases when working remotely, especially when dealing with international clients. Do you agree with me on that?
Absolutely. Using clear and professional English when communicating remotely is essential. Since you're not seeing the person face to face, your words need to be precise to avoid misunderstandings.
I couldn't agree more. And in freelancing, it's not just about having conversations but also writing clear and professional emails or messages that leave a good impression.
Exactly. It's easy to misinterpret messages in written form, so being clear, polite, and direct is even more important. This is why I try to always proofread my messages before sending them.
I also find that in remote work, it's harder to explain complex ideas to someone over chat or email. How do you handle that?
One thing that helps is breaking down complicated ideas into smaller, simpler sentences. Avoiding jargon and using everyday language can also help a lot when explaining complex concepts.
That's a great tip. For example, when I'm giving project updates, I try to keep things concise, focusing on the main points and leaving out unnecessary details.
Yes, focusing on the key points is very effective. Another tip I'd suggest is using bullet points or numbered lists. It makes the information easier to read and understand.
That's so true. When it comes to video calls, though, do you think they're really important for remote work? I know some people prefer just using emails.
Video calls definitely add a personal touch that written messages can't replicate. It's easier to convey emotion, and it's much clearer when you can see someone's expressions while they're explaining something.
I agree with you. I feel like discussing ideas face to face, even virtually, makes it easier to get on the same page. It reduces the chances of confusion, especially for important tasks.
Exactly. Video calls help you better understand the context of what the other person is saying, and they give you a chance to ask follow-up questions right away if something isn't clear.
Do you adjust your English when working with international clients, especially when they are non-native speakers?
Yes, I do. I try to avoid idiomatic expressions and slang that might not be understood by everyone. Instead, I stick to clear, simple language to ensure there's no confusion.
I do the same. I also make sure to ask my clients if they have any questions or need further clarification about anything I said. Better safe than sorry, right?
Absolutely. Clear communication is critical in freelancing because you want to make sure that both you and your client are on the same page from the start.
I've also noticed that being polite and using phrases like "could you please" or "I would appreciate it" goes a long way in making the communication more respectful and professional.
Oh yes, definitely. Professionalism is key, and being polite helps to maintain good relationships with clients. It's especially important when you're trying to build trust with someone remotely.
Speaking of deadlines, how do you effectively communicate them to clients, especially when you're working on multiple projects?
I always confirm the deadline clearly in my emails or messages and remind clients about it if necessary. It's also a good idea to follow up a couple of days before the deadline just in case.
That's great advice. I also make it a point to explain if there might be any delays due to unforeseen circumstances, so clients don't feel like they were left in the dark.
Transparency is essential when it comes to deadlines. If there's a delay, I immediately communicate it with the client, along with an updated timeline. It helps build trust and shows professionalism.
Do you think it's important to learn a little about the culture or local slang of your clients when you're freelancing internationally?
It's definitely helpful for building rapport and creating a more personal connection. However, when it comes to work-related communication, I prefer to stick with formal, clear English.
I agree. It's nice to know a bit about the culture to make conversations more engaging, but keeping it professional is a priority.
Absolutely. Building rapport is important for long-term freelancing success, but it's still vital to communicate in a way that ensures clarity and avoids misunderstandings.
Have you ever found it difficult to negotiate your rates over email or chat?
It can be a bit awkward, but I always try to remain calm and confident. I explain why I charge what I do and make sure to highlight the value I bring to the project.
That's a great way to approach it. It's all about showing your client why your rates are justified and how you can help them achieve their goals.
Exactly. I also always offer a clear breakdown of my services and explain what is included in my rate, so there's no confusion later on.
When it comes to disagreements or misunderstandings, how do you handle them in a remote work setting?
Always approach it calmly and professionally. I try to understand the other person's point of view and then explain mine in a way that's respectful and clear.
I try to do the same. If there's a misunderstanding, I find it helpful to offer solutions rather than just pointing out the problem. It keeps the conversation focused on resolving the issue.
I totally agree. When you focus on solutions rather than blaming, the conversation becomes much more productive and easier to navigate.
How do you manage working with clients in different time zones? It can be tricky, right?
Time zone differences can be challenging, but I always try to be flexible with meeting times. I use scheduling tools to make sure we find a time that works for both of us.
I totally understand. I also use online tools like Google Calendar to keep track of meetings, especially when time zones are different.
Haha, I hear you. Having a reliable scheduling tool is a lifesaver when you're dealing with multiple time zones. It saves so much confusion.
Do you have any tips for managing multiple projects at the same time while freelancing?
Time management is key. I create a to-do list every morning and prioritize tasks based on deadlines. That way, I can focus on what's most urgent first.
I do something similar. I use project management tools to keep track of my tasks and deadlines for each project. It helps me stay organized and on top of things.
Using project management tools like Trello or Asana can really help freelancers stay organized and ensure nothing slips through the cracks.
How do you stay motivated when working from home, especially during those days when you feel distracted or unproductive?
Stick to a routine and make sure I take regular breaks to avoid burnout. A set routine helps me stay focused and motivated throughout the day.
That's smart. I also find that creating a dedicated workspace helps me stay in the work mode and prevents distractions.
Definitely, having a clean, organized workspace makes it much easier to focus and get into a productive mindset.
When clients give you negative feedback, how do you handle it in a remote work environment?
I always listen to their concerns carefully, remain calm, and then respond with a solution. It's important to show you're willing to fix the issue and improve.
That's a great approach. Negative feedback can be tough to hear, but it's an opportunity to grow and improve your skills.
Exactly. I see feedback as a chance to better my services and make sure I'm meeting the client's expectations.
Do you ever struggle to separate work from personal life when working remotely?
It's tough sometimes, but I make sure to have clear boundaries. I set specific work hours and try to stick to them as much as possible.
I agree. Taking time off to relax and recharge is just as important as staying productive, or else you can burn out quickly.
Exactly. It's all about balance. When you take care of yourself, you're more likely to stay focused and do better work.
What tools do you use to communicate with clients? I know there are so many options.
I use email for formal communication, but I also rely on instant messaging apps like Slack for more casual updates. For video calls, I mostly use Zoom.
I use Slack too, it's great for quick check-ins. And Zoom really helps when you need face-to-face discussions, even if it's virtual.
Exactly. Using a variety of communication tools ensures that you can reach your clients in the most efficient way possible, depending on the situation.
Do you think the future of work is going to be more remote?
Absolutely. Remote work and freelancing have been growing rapidly, and with more companies offering flexibility, it seems like it's here to stay.
Thank you for watching episode 9. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment with your thoughts, and stay tuned for more helpful tips on improving your English.